Time to get your red, white, and blue gear. We have a World Cup to get excited about. The United States Youth National Team under 20 heading down to Argentina in just over a week. It starts on May the 20th to compete with the best in the world. Maybe not the very best in the world. The under 20s, as we will see, won't always field the best players under the age of 20 because of the simple reason that so many players, maybe more now than ever, at the age of 19, 18, and 17, have broken into the full national team and are on the lips of every soccer fan. We're watching them play in important competitions. So it isn't the exactly best under 20s, but it's very close to it. And history shows that great players have come through this competition to take the next step. We watch the under 20s, we watch the under 17s, and there's been a lot of success stories. I would point to England, who won both of those competitions, including the under 20s. What was that? Well, not that far ago. 2017. And since they've done well in the youth ranks, England has been doing well on the senior level. I think the U.S. can certainly get there, and we have seen that progress at a variety of levels. We're qualifying for the Olympics as well. Things are good. The United States have competed very well in this competition, and there's a lot of reasons to get excited. Not lost in all of that is that there wasn't an under-20 World Cup 2 years ago. We have to go back to 2019. It's been a full 4-year cycle since we've had one. But the U.S. have done well, but not England well, or Mexico well. Or Argentina well in years past. Although there have been some surprise winners. Serbia won it. Venezuela made a final. Ecuador got pretty deep in the last edition as well. But the U.S. have won groups. They won it in 2017. And they have made 3 straight quarterfinals. But we have seen this team at the under-20s do very well in the groups. One year they lost to Serbia. They finished, I think they played Serbia in the quarterfinals. Serbia would go on to win it. That was 2015, I believe. Yes, getting my dates all together. They've made 3 straight quarterfinals, which is great. But this U.S. team has been percolating at that level. You want them to go beyond that. So a quarterfinal appearance would be a great result. But we want a little bit more, and we think this squad can get it. If the most desirable squad, and it was a 21-man squad put together by Mikey Varas, if it was the most desirable team out there, we would have a real shot. But then again, as I said at the beginning, most countries are saving that. You have France and Brazil. They're not probably going to send their best teams. Argentina, we shall see, who qualified as hosts, because remember, this was supposed to be in Indonesia. So this tournament has been in flux for a bit. But today on the Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. Latest episode with Sarah Walsh, who is now anchoring everything with HBO and Turner around the U.S. men's national team and U.S. women's national team. We talked about the World Cup and many other things coming up. The Women's World Cup, obviously. Check out all my videos here. I'm getting a lot of feedback on the Wrexham video I did. I'm going to do another one, I think, in the not-too-distant future. Like and subscribe us here. Hit that thumbs up right now. Join us here on the Soccer OG podcast or the Soccer OG here on YouTube under my name, Max Bretos. Let's get to the roster very quickly. Again, 21 men, and then we'll talk about those that are not here, and we'll get into the reasons why. The goalkeepers, Gaga Slonina is going to be the starter. Antonio Correa and Alexander Borto, who's with Fulham, round out those 3 guys. Justin Che, we were worried he may not get the call in. He gets the nod. He was there at Hoffenheim. Brandon Craig, Jim Curtin, explicit in how he wanted his Philadelphia players to come out into this, where some other MLS teams kept their players. We'll address that in a moment. A couple Galaxy defenders, Mauricio Cuevas and Marcos Ferkranus, but not Jalen Neal, who was kept by the Galaxy because he's an everyday player. Jonathan Gomez, who's with Real Sociedad B. Caleb Wiley gets the nod out of Atlanta United. Midfielders Daniel Edelman, Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, Rokas Pushtas, Nico Sakidis, Obed Vargas, Owen Wolf. And then the forwards, Cade Cowell, Kevin Paredes, Quinn Sullivan, and Darren Yappy. So those that were not there. Let's start with Ricardo Pepi, because I think people were hoping that he could make it, and in the end he did not. And it's because, in the words of Mikey Varas, that he has graduated to the senior team. There's no question he is. He could be our starting number 9 this summer. So I would like to see him in the under-20s, but I can understand that. If you're a fixture on the national team and you're under the age of 20 or under, then you move on. I imagine Ricardo Pepi would like to be here. This would be a fun competition, but I get it. Two of the guys that weren't released in Major League Soccer, and I know a lot of backlash for that, Jalen Neal, and then Brian Gutierrez and Chris Brady at the Chicago Fire. Chris Brady would have not started if he went there because he would have been behind Gaga Slonina. Brian Gutierrez, I think, would have got some nice minutes. I'm a huge Gutierrez fan, and he's going to be in Europe soon because we don't develop players like that. Number 10. He really is comfortable as a number 10 and would have liked to have seen him in there. He's going to stay with the Fire. A few other guys. Oh, Josh Winder, I also forgot to mention. He's on that squad as well. I just saw him scribbled out there, but he could be a starter. So, Noel Buck, not released by the New England Revolution. I don't know if he would have broken through. This is a very good midfield. He is going to stay. And Alejandro Alvarado, staying with his Portuguese club. The biggest one for me is Paxten Aaronson. And because I don't think... I mean, if you had Ricardo Pepi, you can replace Paxten Aaronson, because when he played in the CONCACAF under-20s, he was kind of like in the middle of the attack. They played a 4-3-3 most of the time. Sometimes they'd play a 4-2-1-2-1 or 4-2-1-3. And Paxten Aaronson was right in the middle of it. And I think he's going to be the hardest one to replace. Eintracht Frankfurt decided not to release them. A lot of people spinning it. You know, they criticized the MLS teams, of course, because they didn't release their players. But hey, if you didn't get released by Eintracht Frankfurt, then there must be a good reason. There is a good reason. I think they all should be released if they want to go. It's not a FIFA date, but these clubs are paying them. They're developing the players. These players, if they go to the national team, their development gets stunted because you don't train with the national team the way you train with your clubs. It's a completely different. We've heard it from coaches and managers. You get out of shape when you're not with your club because the national team generally are not going to have these intense workouts, which the clubs do. Maybe not all season long, but they do. So I'm okay. I don't like it, but it's business. That's how it goes. And these players, you know, the Chicago Fire, Gutierrez and Brady play every day. If they left, they'd miss a month, if not more, of their club's action. Jalen Neal and the Galaxy have really struggled. That would be the same case. And apparently Eintracht Frankfurt's got big plans with Paxten Aaronson, which is exciting. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're under 20 once. So if all those guys we mentioned, and let's leave Ricardo Pepi out there because those are that's a different circumstance. If Aaronson and Neal and Gutierrez and Buck were all here, then USA would have to be one of the favorites. But then again, a lot of countries are dealing with the same thing. They don't have their heavy hitters that are 18 and 19. God forbid they did, because if Brazil had their best under-20s and Argentina and France, we'd be in trouble. But then again, this is a competition where not those heavy... historically, they've won it, but we look at Serbia, we look at Venezuela making a final, we look at Ecuador making a run. It has opened the door for several other nations. It's still a very good team, and I think they can make a semifinal. It really depends. As for their group, they will start on May the 20th. Group B, they take on Ecuador, who we're going to preview the tournament a little bit. Ecuador is developing really good players. We talked about the success they had. That's going to be the toughest team in the group for the U.S. Ecuador made a World Cup, were competitive, should have made the round of 16. And it's in large part because they've been developing players. Kendrick Baez is that phenomenal player that's coming through the pike. May 23rd, they take on Fiji. USA should probably smash Fiji out of Oceania. Nice that the Fijians are there. It's a rugby country. They get to play some soccer. We want Oceania to develop. And then May 26th, they take on Slovakia. And if they win that group or finish second, again, there's 24 teams. You can even finish third and qualify, but I think the U.S. at worst finishes second. Hopefully they win that group and they put themselves in a good position. Again, they've made 3 straight quarterfinals. They have qualified for 5 straight of these. They're on the cusp, but they have to evolve and go beyond a quarterfinal. And they have the talent to do it. So all those guys that didn't make it, I was okay with. Paxten Aaronson's the one that I was like, I feel we need him. Especially, by the way, if Eintracht Frankfurt's not releasing him, then they're seeing something. They're seeing something special in him. And I think we can take some solace in that. So, in CONCACAF, they won that competition. Again, they had some tough games against Canada. Honduras, the host. That was the big game in the semifinals. They were able to rip through there. By the way, Caden Clark, coming back from injury, he wasn't called up either. He was a big part of that as well. I mean, in the important games at the end, Clark, Aaronson, Quinn Sullivan were your front 3. Diego Luna's there. He's going to probably keep his spot. Pushtas is another one that could probably get in there. He's playing at Hajduk Split. Word was that he wasn't going to be released, but he's here. Alvarado. So that big game in the semifinals, Cuevas, Craig, Neal, Halliday in the back 4. Halliday not called up, and Brady. Just 5 players called in that were in that starting 11 for this squad. I believe there was 11 players from that CONCACAF qualifying team that made the World Cup team. So that's a pretty significant shift. When these 2 competitions were so close, and the fact that you had success there the way they did, you figure this squad would almost mirror the CONCACAF squad, but it didn't. The World Cup will go from May 20th to June the 11th. So this, I think they may labor a bit to score some goals. Well, surprise, surprise. That's how we roll these days. But a great opportunity for some guys to step in there. Caleb Wiley could be one of them defensively. He could play as a winger as well. He's kind of got that. I think we're going to really lean into Joshua Winder. He should be the starting center back. I imagine he will be with Brandon Craig. The midfield, Daniel Edelman is an everyday player for the Red Bulls. Jack McGlynn of the Philadelphia Union, one of 3 Union players, also in there. And he is creative. He's left-footed. I think he'll find a way. Owen Wolf, I just called his game for Austin FC. He's playing wonderfully, and he made it in there. So they have some really nice options in that midfield. And I think that is where their strength will be. They'll have depth. Obed Vargas, who's been a great defensive midfielder with Edelman doing some of that heavy lifting, because they're going to have to protect the likes of Diego Luna, who you want going forward. He might even play as a forward, but he's such an exciting player. And I think you'll see that retention area in the midfield key. So Vargas and Edelman, Pushtas as well, are going to be important figures in this tournament. And figure they'll play 3 games, at least 5 games, you hope. Hopefully 7 games. So there's going to be a lot of rotation. I want to, again, we're going to talk a lot more about the under-20s. We're just acknowledging that they released the roster. We're excited about this. Games will be available on probably FS1, FS2, also on Telemundo. Earlier in the day, by and large, I was hoping there'd be some more evening games, but I think we have some afternoon games for the United States in that, at least in the group stages. But again, this is a great springboard opportunity, and we have a team that will certainly compete. Can they score goals? No Paxten Aaronson. They only brought in 4 forwards. That's why I think Luna and others will probably move further up in the attack. I think that's what Mikey Varas is looking for. But you have Cade Cowell, Kevin Paredes, who made the cut, so that's good news too, who plays at Wolfsburg, doesn't play a lot, but he plays. Quinn Sullivan and Darren Yappy. Yappy does not have a goal for the Colorado Rapids, but he is a big, physical, athletic striker that, surrounded by the right personnel, you think he could get some run, and I think he will. I'm very excited about Cade Cowell. Cade Cowell has been remarkable in Major League Soccer this season. He's playing the way we always envisioned. Direct, vertical, fast, athletic, getting behind defenders. I think he will be a lock day one to start on, let's say, the left side of the attack. I would put Yappy in the middle, and then I would put Quinn Sullivan on the right because of what he did at the CONCACAF qualifying, because he's been embedded with the under-20s. Kevin Paredes is the guy that you can slide in here from time to time. But Cal, Yappy, Sullivan, that's the key. Will they be able to get enough from that group? Can they get goals from elsewhere? Can they get goals from set pieces? Taking the set pieces, McGlynn can certainly do that. Owen Wolf can. It depends who's on the field. I was hoping this tournament would be in Indonesia, but it got moved, unfortunately. I think that would have been a better experience for these guys because now they're scrambling to get it done in Argentina. It would have been nice if they had it here. That could have certainly positioned ourselves to be successful. But here we go. Get out your gear. Get ready to cheer. This is going to do well. How well depends, I think, in that final third. I'm predicting the United States makes the semifinals, but we'll get into that. We'll learn more about the teams that are performing, and we will see, because if the United States can win this or get to a final, proof of concept right there. The youth development we have had is making headway, and we shall see. They have a really good shot because we know we've never had an under-20 where we've known, the top player to the bottom player on this roster. We follow them so closely. It's very exciting. May 20th until June the 11th. And hopefully we have a game on June the 11th. The Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast where all podcasts are available. Check out the Soccer OG videos here under my name, Max Bretos. Like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon to preview this tournament and so much more. Hey, Oguchi Onyewu getting a spot on the technical staff for U.S. Soccer. More progress. We're moving, folks.